Hello, everyone, and welcome to Film Independent Presents Virtual Edition. I'm Lisa Hasko, Director of Artist Development at Film Independent. Before we get started, I have to give some praise to our wonderful supporters. So thank you to our incredible lead sponsor, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, and our screening partner, Vision Media. For those of you watching live, please take advantage of the Q&A box on the bottom of the screen. We'll take some audience questions towards the end of the discussion. I'm very honored to introduce longtime documentary filmmaker and our panelist today, Victor Kossakovsky. Thanks for joining us. Can I ask, where are you joining us from?
I'm at the moment in Berlin, in Germany. Berlin.
Oh, okay. Well, guten Tag then.
Guten Tag.
So
don't put salt on my wounds because I don't speak German, and you have.
I lived there for a brief period of time, but my German is not good, so I wouldn't embarrass myself. Thanks for joining us today and discussing your latest film, Gunda. As a farm girl who grew up in Southern Oregon myself, I was really excited to watch this film. Anything about animals and nature appeals to me, and so was very excited to see this. It's beautiful. And Gunda in Scandinavian, what does that mean? That means female warrior.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it used to be quite common name in the Scandinavia, but not anymore. But yeah, but it means exactly what you said. It's kind of
tough
strong.
Woman.
So yeah, popular now. Supposed to be top popular now. It's time for strong woman now.
It is. I agree with that. And I'm looking for baby names, so maybe that's on my list now.
All right.
So was wondering a little bit, where is this magical land that we're watching when we see Gunda and her babies from the beginning being born?
Yeah, it's very interesting because I was looking for a producer for 20 years to make this movie, and in many countries, no one trusts me. No one took it seriously. So when I met Anita and I proposed this idea, she said, "Oh, but how I can see it? How can you explain me what it is? I said, "Okay, let's go to the farm." So we study a little bit where is the closest farm, and normally what I do, I talk to scientists, and we found scientists in Norway, and they said, go to that farm. It's a little bit special, but maybe this is interesting for you. We came to, it's quite 1 hour from Oslo. We came, and the first minute we saw Gunda. It was the first person we met was Gunda. And I immediately said to Anita, look, we have our Meryl Streep. You don't need to search anymore. She looks at you and she talks to you. So, and what happened is that the owner of this place is a remarkable person, actually. Her name is Gree. So this farm so she get married, and this farm was her husband. He died a few years before we came. And she said to me her story. She said, one night I was crying. I woke up. I woke my husband. I said, listen, I cannot continue this way. We mistreat animal. They live in the cages all life in the concrete cement floor. We need to change. I cannot live like this anymore. So, and luckily the man was also full of empathy. He was ready to this. So actually, the empathy of these two people was key to my film because they give 20 meters of free space to each piglet. So they made this is kind of ecological, let's say, humanistic. Not I'm afraid even I don't know empathy farm. You know, so spy animals. They're so friendly. They are like they easy communicate. They allow us to film, and so otherwise normally they're stuck, so you cannot do anything. So And she was really, Gunda was so communicative. So she looked at you and she definitely talked to you, especially in the end. She
Mm-hmm.
obviously, she came to you and she obviously said, "What fuck are you doing to me? Why?"
Yeah, where are my
Yeah,
babies?
you cannot miss it, right? You cannot
Yeah.
misinterpret her speech,
Mm-hmm.
That's why actually I decided not to have any voiceover
Mm-hmm.
because her speech is so clear. Every time she look at you, you really clearly read what is in her mind, like what is her emotions. So I said I should not even use music, not only voiceover. Even music would be the additional push, and you don't need it. Like you really,
No,
yeah.
it wasn't necessary to have the music. And I loved that it was, you could hear the actual things that the animals themselves were hearing on the farm. And it was just so peaceful to take in. And the black and white was gorgeous. So you clearly have a passion for animals and empathy for animals. I related to that through the film so easily. I was wondering, you mentioned 20 years you were looking for someone to make this film. So where did that spark come from? And I guess for filmmakers and they're following their passion, like what would you say to that? What kept you going and wanting to make this film?
Yeah, this is the good one. This is the good one. I always believe that artists or filmmaker, if I maybe artist is too big word for filmmaker, but if you forgive me this, so artist actually is not a painting what he or not a film. It's a path. It's a
Mhm.
path. You walk on your life, and the best way, if you look back and you don't need to cut any film from your filmography. I mean, you are not shame, which is might happen with people, right? Even Eisenstein has such film. Uh, Dziga Vertov has such film. He better not to show it to anyone. Leni Riefenstahl, of course, So even Davzhenko has films which is not better not to see. So because and the commentary is very often because
Mhm.
you want to be on the time, you want to be actual, and you want to be. But in fact, it's easiest way to film what you understand.
Mhm.
Better to film what you don't understand, right? Better what you. So, and I guess in the cinema, we forgot one thing. I believe we forgot that. Is it okay that I talk to you like patronizing a little bit? Like we forgot. Is it a little?
Of course. No, we want to
It,
hear from your perspective. Please share.
I'm so sorry. It's a shame. Shameless. But okay, I will teach Hollywood a little bit of
Please,
cinema
we need to
history.
learn.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
lots to learn.
Yeah. Okay, I will be shameless. Okay, what I feel, if you go on the street, I don't know, Hollywood Boulevard or Broadway, whatever you are, so you go and you meet someone. In 1 second, you don't know this person, and you need 2 seconds to understand: is it the person you hate, or is it person you could be friend, or is it person be better to be far away, or even this might be a person I could even sleep with. So you learn how to read it because nature taught you to do it. Nature for millions of years taught animals to understand each other just for one look. In this respect, I would say cinema is the closest art to
Mm,
to our nature, because this is what we learn from nature to understand by one look. And this is why I can respect films which are based on voiceover or narration or storytelling. But in fact, even term storytelling is wrong for me.
mm,
When someone said to me, "Oh, we have to tell story," I immediately protest.
mhm,
Cinema should not tell story. If you want to tell story, write book. If you want to tell story, make radio show. If you want to tell story, be politician or whatever. But film supposed to show maybe
mhm,
story, maybe not. Cinema is supposed to show you something you don't see yourself, or you don't want to see, or you decided not to see. And this is what we see, what we have here. We decided not to see that food we eat was just killed. Just maybe a minute ago, maybe day before, maybe half a year ago, it was killed. It didn't appear from the tree. It didn't fall out in an apple, you know. It was killed, same as billion piglets were killed every year. Billion, billion, billion. Half billion cow were killed every year. 50 billion chickens were killed every year. So, and we decided we don't know about it.
Yeah.
This is weird contradiction in our mind, right? We decided to have double life. We teach people, our kids, to be nice, and at the same time we give them sausage without explaining, oh, we just kill it. Now it looks like sausage, but so what happened?
So you feel like we aren't taking responsibility for our actions.
I believe we misunderstood our purpose. Someone wrote in the first page of Bible that in the day 5, in the day 1, God made darkness and light, and then water, and then animals and plants, and then in the day 5, human to rule all of it. Why human is the one who is dominated? Why?
I don't know. We don't make very smart choices.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure why that happened.
It's actually wrong decision, right?
So I'm wondering, you were talking about conveying things that we don't usually see. And then you traced it to the things that we don't see with the food that we're putting in our bodies, and not making that connection that it's coming from other live bodies with feelings and lives. And as we see in this film, so you were depicting, it was just basically the life cycle of what Gunda experiences around her and through her sweet little babies. And you did such a good job with the cinematography and capturing even every eyelash of her eyes when she's looking at you, and when she's taking care of the babies, and when, I hope I'm not spoiling it for people, and when the babies get taken from her. So I feel like you achieved that through that film. And I guess, was the motivation that sparked was just trying to convey that message to people that these are real lives that we're dealing with, that we ignore.
It was few motivation. There is one always through all my life I wanted to make, but I never was strong enough to make it, because I was always wanted to make film without any music and without any words. I was close to it like a couple of times, very close, but in the last day of sound mix, I was not strong enough, and I put music to my films. But it was the symphony of sounds of Aquarella was already done, so it was such a rich sound. But I was afraid people will be not able to, not willing to watch 90 minutes film about nothing without even any help. And 20 years ago, I made a film called Tisha, also just from my window, and also full of sounds of city, and just based on sounds of city, and camera just looking from my window and nothing else. I was trying to beat Hitchcock, if you wish. I mean, just because Hitchcock, he made it from his window, but he also looked inside the apartment. So I said, no, I don't even look to the apartment. I just look outside and don't do anything else. So,
It does take a lot of confidence from a filmmaker. It makes me think about Ramona Diaz's film Motherland. She didn't have any music in that either, and I just felt like watching it, as an audience member, it just was so impressive. And same with Gunda, that choice, it takes a lot of confidence, and maybe you didn't have the strength before because you didn't have the, I don't know, the confidence or experience yourself to be able to make that choice.
Which film which film you said?
Oh, I said Motherland. I
Motherland.
think I got the name right. I'm thinking of Ramona Diaz's film that was about the Philippines. Am I getting the
Ah,
name wrong?
I'm sorry, sorry. I probably I didn't see it. I'm so sorry.
Well,
Uh,
I'll send it to
yeah,
you so
all
you can
right.
watch it.
Yeah,
But just that it takes a lot of confidence as a filmmaker to make that decision. So it looks like you finally, 20 years later, it's the right time to make this film.
yeah. Because now you see, when I was talking to when you in the circle of your friends, and they respect you and they watch your movie, and they say, "Oh, Victor, that's a great movie," and then you go with them to restaurant and they order burger, and you say, "Wait a second, you just watched my film about."
Right.
And you still don't get it. But
Mm-hmm.
luckily, with this film, I'm getting like every day 50, 60 letters, emails from people, mostly young people, they're saying, I cannot eat meat anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So this is very interesting. I normally wouldn't say cinema can change the planet. I normally would be careful with this idea of art changing anything, but this particular film really works. So since we premiere in Berlinale, every day I'm getting emails like people thanks me that something changed, something happened to them. So which is nice.
So do you feel like you set out to make that the audience reaction, or was that intended, or was that an unintended consequence of making such an intimate portrayal of
I
an
mean,
animal's life?
I was actually very much careful with, uh, as far I'm all my life vegetarian, I was very careful not to be pathetic, not to be propaganda. So,
Mm,
for example, there is a controversial moment when Gilda actually killing her kid. So, and for if I would have propaganda idea agenda, I will definitely cut it out. It's just
mm,
not to give chance for people saying, aha, you see, she killed her baby. So, but I said, no, I'm not the one who can judge her. So pigs lives here a million years longer than us. So we cannot, they, she knows what she does. She knows better than, and of course, if I will be like this idea to push you to understand it, of course, I will use music, I will put
hmm.
violins and cello in the last shot, and you will
Manipulate us into
I will
crying.
and have a cry, it will be like Schindler List second. So it's just easy to do it. And I said,
Hmm.
no, I will just use cinema language, nothing else. Just people watch whatever happen. But idea of pure cinema is more how to say more noble idea. Like because if you take some subject, if of course if you film animals, easiest way to go to slaughterhouse, right? But I said no, then it's about us.
Yep.
But if you want to film them, then just look at them, respect them, just give them time and dedicate your time and be with them.
Hmm.
So we were 2 months with Gunda. So of course every morning we will come in the 4 o'clock in the morning. We're already in the farm. We already so same as if I will film you, I will not just come for this interview. I will try to be. I don't try to understand your life. Try to be polite. Try to find distance. Try to
Hmm.
communicate and give you time and give you space and come closer if you allow me a little bit. If
Right.
not,
Like a more character driven. And
yeah,
you're
exactly.
and Gunda, you said that was one of my questions for you was how did you select her as a character and that sweet one-legged chicken as a character and the cows who seemed the most skeptical of all. They were watching you. So
Yeah.
how did
But
you connect
very
with
much.
them?
I'm glad you noticed that they're skeptical because normally you don't see such cow because cow they live 3 4 years and if they're lucky or they live 1 year if they're for meat. So, but these ones, um, they live not in the farm. The cow was I film in sanctuaries.
Mm,
So it's a place when they live as long as they can. So the particular faces in the end, when you see these portraits, they're all 30 years old
Oh.
about 30. So you normally never see grandmama
Mhm.
cow. So this is why they're so beautiful, because we never seen them before. We
Mhm.
not see them like they're kids, and then bam. So, but this already like long, like one of them's 29, another 32. So they're just, you see life in their eyes, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that they live not in a normal farm, but in sanctuaries, they understand that some people are nice, so they
Yeah.
allow you to come closer. Otherwise, they will run away from you, right? So, and especially with chicken as well. So the fine distance between you and chicken, between camera, you do wrong step and they will run, right? You have to
Yes.
be very, you have to be very careful with them. You have to be very polite. But if you go far away, then you don't feel any connection, right? But if you do wrong step forward, and they are not ready, they will just run away. So it's a precise, almost like juvenile work, like
Mhm.
like neurosurgery, like have to be very, very
Very
clear.
precise
Where,
and
where,
careful.
yeah, where are you with camera? How much distance you have between you and, which is basic of the cinema, I guess. The basic of the documentary is how far you are from your character,
Mm.
because same feel people when they watch your movie. They sit in the cinema and they look to the screen and they have relationship with character, right? So, and if you do wrong step, the character will be not comfortable and viewers will be not comfortable, right? So it's like a love relationship. So I consider filmmaking as love relationship between, let's say, between woman and man, or whatever. So if you do wrong step, if you are too fast, you can spoil everything, right? If you speak something wrong, you can spoil everything. So
Mm.
you have to always feel perception. You always have to feel what other feels, right? Same with screen. So same story.
There's one film that will be out soon, I think in March, that we worked with at Film Independent through one of our programs called Stray, and it's about stray dogs in Turkey, and similar to Keddy, only it's a little more intimate in following this one group of dogs around and one character in particular the filmmaker gets really close to. But I was thinking about those films that are portraying animal lives. They're still going through the humans' eyes and they still have the humans to drive the story and the momentum. Although I feel like Stray does a really excellent job, really giving the dogs their light. But just wondering, you mentioned, a story doesn't have to necessarily have a story per se, but how did you and your team in the edit decide how to tell that and which moments to switch over to different characters, and starting, did you always know you wanted to start with the birth of the little piglets and then end with Gunda seeing them get taken away?
Yeah, the beginning and end was more or less in our mind. The rest was absolutely. I always say, again, forgive me, I'm so Russian. Probably pathetically will say, "Oh, Mamma Mia!" Too much Dostoevsky, too much Tolstoy, too many books in childhood. I'm sorry. But forgive me. I will be stupid now.
No,
So
we are enjoying it.
yeah.
do
So what I
do
would say,
share.
if you do documentary, you have to convince, let's say, God to be your co-writer. Like you have to put something on God.
Hmm.
Like I have idea of beginning and end, and the rest is your guys. Is your duty, guy. Like the life will bring you something if you know more or less. If you have good motivation, if you came for money, No, fame for fame, it's wrong. If you're not honest, but if you have just to make good movie and to
Mhm.
show people something they never seen before, and you have beginning and end, then the rest will come somehow. So when I, but I love your question because, and again I will answer in my strange way. Like when I edit here, I, I imagine behind me sitting like, let's say 8 or 10 people. Some of them I know very well, some of them not exist anymore, some of them I don't even know, some of them hate me, some of them love me. Some, so for example, it's always here my best friend Alexander Sakurov. He's here. Always my mom, she already died 20 years ago, but she's always here. My little son with me, policeman who lives next door and who hates me, he always here. Imaginary. So when I edit movie, I know that for Sakurov, it still can be longer. This shot can still go and go. He loves long shots. But for policeman, it's far too long already. I have to
Mm.
cut it. So I'm trying to find balance between what could be interesting today for different kind of people and what could be interesting even later.
Mhm.
Because there are some, of course, for example, it's in a way it's opposite from what is popular because most popular films, if you look to them now, the films which makes a box office now, they are the length of the shot 1.2 second, an average. So it means, if you think like this, what it means I don't have you give you chance to think yourself. I
Mm.
will tell you what is next shot. I will tell you what is next shot. I will tell you what is next shot. So it means I'm really director, not only of my movie, but of your brain even. I'm
Mhm.
really directing of your perception. But if you give a long shot, then you decide how do you feel about it, how do what you see here, and what you have your perception is your perception. This
Mhm.
is important for me. Yeah.
That came through, of course, at the end where there's that long shot of just being with Gunda as she processes and accepts that her babies, her energy, the life that was around her is now gone. And I think that was really powerful. I appreciate when filmmakers and directors trust their audience to just sit and be quiet and take it in and not have to jump through, an action scene every 5 seconds. So that was really touching and beautiful. And I cried. So thanks for that. I think we need to move on. I'm seeing a lot of questions come in. I have more questions for you, but I feel like we should open it up to the audience. Um, I'll just start with the first one. It was a brilliant decision just to have natural sound and no voiceover. Victor, are you vegan?
Yes, of course I am vegan. I used to be all my life vegetarian since age 4, because in age 4 I spent couple of months in the countryside, and it was very very cold winter. And the place when I lived, the people they took piglets they had inside house because it was so cold, and in his barn it was not cold, warm enough. So they took piglet, and he became my best friend. So we spent beautiful time together. It was best friend of my childhood, and of
Yeah.
course he became the dinner for New Eve time. And of
Mm,
course, for me, it was disaster of my life.
yep.
So I became vegetarian that time. And of course, when you do such film and you see every day as animal, you becoming vegan because more you see. We filmed 6 hours, and I wanted to show you 6 hours, but I know
Mhm.
it's a little bit difficult for people to see. So, but if what I know about them, of course, I will. If I will tell you everything I know about them, every one of you will be vegan. Everyone. It's just no question. But Leonardo da Vinci was talking about it. Leonardo said, it was 500 years ago. By the way, he said people will understand that to kill animal and to kill human, it's the same act of killing, nothing else,
Mhm.
nothing else. People will understand that each animal has personality, has right to be here, same as we do. But it will take time for people to understand this. And he's right. It's the same with any in like how to say like any scientist invented something or opened something new for us. We don't believe that the planet is round. We believe it's flat, and it took few hundred years before we agreed that this is round, right?
Mhm.
And everything like this. We didn't believe that our planet is running around the sun. We thought sun is running around. So it took us time, and it will take us time. It's good that we already not eat each other, right? It's good
Mhm.
we are not in your country, in my country. 200 years ago was slavery,
Yeah.
and
And we're
other
still struggling with that.
and we're still struggling with it. So we are very slow. We're still suffering with racism. We still question human female rights. Absurd. It's so easy, right? We
Mhm.
still we still has question about gay and lesbian rights. Come on, what is so easy, right? It's so
Mhm.
simple, and it will come to this anyway. But we are
That's
slow.
something you said earlier about you're not sure if films can impact people like that. That was the reason I became vegetarian. Was I watched a documentary a long time ago about an animal rescue and sanctuary, and after that I was just said forget it. So I do think that these films offer, and you know, standing up for your beliefs through this beautiful art form, like that speaks to people. um Here, let me go to the Q&A. um you did part of the cinematography too, which was beautiful. I'm curious how you've managed to set up those epic tracking shots when working with animals whose movements are quite impossible to predict. Were you following the animals with a steady cam?
Yeah, we little bit we little bit how to say improved Steadicam.
Mm-hmm.
So the normal Steadicam didn't work there for some reason, especially when you want to be so low, and there are few particular moments when we want it to be like very low, like very. So we made some improvement. Actually, this is one of my ideas always. As far everyone has a camera now, everyone has. So I always said, when you come to time when everyone has a pen, but not everyone Dostoevsky, and like everyone can write War and Peace, but not everyone Lev Tolstoy. So it just everyone has a camera, but still professionals must do something. Normal people do not know how did you do it. So this is why we spend a lot of time to draw and to invent something, to invent some equipment which is then it looks obvious, it looks beautiful, it looks you don't see it, but in fact it's a huge job done before, and so we did a lot of things there, and I thank you for noticing. Thank you for, because cinematography for me is one of the crucial. I was lucky in my life, you know. It's very strange to say lucky, but it's make all my life different. So when I was making my first film, I start filming myself as a cameraman, but then Sakurov Alexander gave me presents, 6 rolls of clean footage, like of clean film, so I can film. And I was so afraid to expose myself. I knocked to the door of the greatest cameraman of Soviet Union that time, who made mirror for Tarkovsky, who made camera for Tarkovsky, mirror film. So I knocked to his door and I showed him a couple of frames I made. He looked like this in the light and he said, okay, let's go. And he made camera for me. And after working with Rerberg, his name was Georgi Rerberg, after working with him, it was for me so difficult to find cameramen. So this is why almost all my movies I made myself as a
Mm-hmm.
cameraman. And later I start to now the guy who was my assistant, Bernhard, he started working half. I share with him aquarella, and with Egil I share this. But cameraman is my. Actually, I didn't want to be director. I wanted to be cameraman actually all my life.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this is the most important. It's like a handwriting, It's like if you're a painter, you have your brush, right? And you in your emotion, the way you put paint, like the way you have your emotion, just you see emotion on the canvas, right? So this is why I thought cameraman is the one who transmit emotion, not director, but cameraman. Any movement of camera is changing your perceptions. That's why. Thank
I
you for.
agree. I agree with that. I think there's something really special about films where the cameraman and the director are camera person and director are the same, because there's just something that unique and in the emotional conveyance that happens when that's a case. So, but it seems like you work with partners as well, as you said. So
Yeah,
it's kind of
yeah.
a
I
co.
found the guy. I found a Norwegian guy who is brilliant in Steadicam and brilliant in distance, the feeling of emotion of animal, and who knows do not cross too much and have to.
Here's another question. They say, Jonathan says, enjoyed the film. Has it been shown to farmers and how have they responded to it?
Yeah, we did show for farmers, and surprisingly, they love it. Surprisingly, so we were super afraid. We were super afraid to, because of course it's kind of against in a
Mm,
way farming, but in a way people already. I guess people are ready to understand this. I
yeah.
believe it's time to. We obviously cannot continue in a way because we did not notice it before so obviously, because like even 100 years ago we were just 2 billion people, so
Hmm.
the number was not so. And then don't forget, last century we were very busy of killing humans.
Yeah.
So in Russia we kill over 50 million people. In Europe as well, in Latin America, Indonesia, in
Mm,
Africa, in China. I will even tell you horrible stuff. It's
mm,
if you don't dig and don't ask me where, I will tell you. Last century, in many countries, people were eating people.
hmm.
Unfortunately, people even, there are some countries, if you don't ask me where, then I will tell you. In some countries, it was such, it was not food enough. And human, in order not to eat his own kid, were exchanging kids with the neighbors.
Hmm.
And so to eat neighbor kid is easier than to eat your own kid. So we were able to do this 100 years ago. And now we are 4 times more population,
Yeah.
and we are eating over 100 kilogram meat per year. So when I will die, if I would eat meat, and I will die, let's thank God in 100 years. So behind behind me, it will be huge two mountains. One mountain is from plastic, and one mountain from skeletons and,
Yeah.
and bones of animals I kill. So this is what is real portrait of human today, right? So it's unfortunate like this. So now we are ready to get it. We are ready.
Hmm.
And I was surprised, but farmers, they did not scream like, oh, forbid this movie. No, no, no. They were able to talk, and they said, yeah, we have to think more and have to change life of animals.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's really, I think that there have sprouted up, at least I've seen, like you were talking about the sanctuaries, and we definitely have those around where I am in Los Angeles. I go and visit the Gentle Barn often. That's one of them. Um, and I do think people are ready for it. But also, farmers have relationships with their animals. They're different, but they do see their lives and deaths firsthand. So I feel like they're even closer to needing to be smart about it, or they're a receptive audience about it because they see it on the daily. And I don't know if that desensitizes them from the life and death cycle or if it makes them more connected to it. But maybe they're seeing some of that in this film. Let me see.
I
It
like questions.
says,
Thank you for this question.
let's see. I'm going to give you another question. Oh, this is a sweet one. Absolutely love this movie. I cried at the end. Me too. The poor piglet babies. Is there any chance of a sequel and happiness for Gunda?
First of all, Gunda, I already said to you probably that uh, as far Gunda became so popular, suddenly New York Times wrote about Gunda, Wall Street Journal, Guardian, Independent. So the farmer looked like this, like, wow, this is like, and so the Gunda will live until her real end. So they decided they are not gonna kill her. They decided that she's retired now. She's not
Mhm,
going to have more births, and she will live until end of her days. About sequel, I would say I have a I have a good surprise for those who are looking for sequel, because I guess I have a very surprising continuation. I have doing two films, yeah, and which would be, yeah, in a way it will be continuous,
mhm.
continuation of what I'm trying to do.
Well,
Yeah.
that's really exciting, and that was going to be one of my questions was what are you working on now and next, and will they involve more sweet animals for us?
You will see something unpredictable. I will surprise you. I would say I will surprise you. And there are questions here that 99% of the film is about Gunda, and yeah, because it happened that Gunda was so strong.
Mm-hmm.
So and we film it first. When we film it first, and I was trying to make it as short as possible, and this as short as possible was already 60 minutes. So, and then I said, okay, as far we didn't have much funding though.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually a risk of my producer and Norwegian Film Institute, because as I told you, 20 years, no one believed me. No one wanted to give money. So, and the fact that, so by the way, you probably will surprise, but in the meaning of the word producer in Europe and in America has different meaning, different purpose.
Yes, definitely.
Producer, yeah, producer in Europe almost never take a risk. So in America, producer is the person who has idea to make movie, and
Mm-hmm.
he's doing it, and he's able to make a risk, he's able to organize, and he's able to do things. In Europe is different process. Filmmaker is the one who has an idea, and then he convince producer, and then producer normally will go to foundations and governments or other cinema funds, and he will convince them, and until he will get money in his account, he will not let you move a finger.
Mm.
So he wants to be secure. But this one, Anita, she was brilliant. She made it opposite way. She made it in a way, American way. She took risk. She felt that. So this beginning, we even built the house of. So what we did, as I told you before, I said to producer, let's go. I will show you. We came to the farm. We found Gunda. What we did, I I drew the house of Gunda, and then
Mm-hmm.
I came home, and together with cameraman, we designed same size of house, but in a way that lens could be inside and
Mm.
camera outside, and all of us outside, and lens can move 360-degree inside. So we designed it, and a producer found people who made it for us. So, and 3 weeks before this, we came with this house we place it. And Gunda came and she spent 3 weeks before birth. She spent in this house. So she made here it her house.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew, of course, the end of the story. We knew what will happen in the end because she made this circle twice a year. So
Mm.
twice a year she goes through this. So so it means it's not. It was already her fifth time when she goes through this procedure.
Do you think that because it's her fifth time, that because pigs are so intelligent and self-aware, that she expects the babies will leave at some point? Is it
Yeah,
becoming
but
familiar?
listen, if you notice, when tractor came, she made two things. She first of all she cut the door
Yeah.
of her. She like grab it, and
Mm-hmm.
then came and she. There is a metal construction when she eat, right? I
Yeah.
don't know how to call it, and she
Trough.
yes she bites this metal,
Mm-hmm.
and so you see her emotion in this moment. You
Mm-hmm.
even she heard tractor,
Yeah.
she already knew this. She already she just heard tractor coming, and she
Mm.
bite this door, and
Mm-hmm.
she 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 bite the door of the wood. She bite the
Yeah.
wood. She break it. So it means she knew what is happening.
It was distressing to her. She knew.
This is why we decided we will not. It was a huge discussion where to put camera at this moment. We
Mm.
knew what will happen, but we didn't know what she will do. So, and happened miracle, I would say, because so we decided we have to be far away in order not to distract her movement.
Mm-hmm.
First idea was to be with Steadicam, but if you with Steadicam, you
Too
will
close.
to participate
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you will destroy everything. So so we decided to be far away, but from another side, we need to be in a way that we see her emotions, right?
Mm-hmm.
It must be exactly the place when you're not far too much, and exactly which lens, because if you want to see her emotions, you need to long lens. But but we knew that I knew it that in certain moments she will come to you, because there is no one else around, and if she will come to you too close, then long lens not good
Mm.
because you cannot focus. The focus of the long lens is over metered. But if she will come close to you, she will be unfocused. And so it was a decision before. And of course, we didn't know how long she will suffer. So, but what happened is, miraculously, so I would say most of filmmakers will make zoom in on her
Mm.
on her face. And we said, no, we don't do this. We will not push. And that's why we put discrete lens. And what we did is we we were waiting. And then she came to us herself. She came to the portrait herself. Not like we put zoom to her portrait, but she came and she looked.
Mm-hmm.
And then she 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 went to her house. But why I say it's miracle? Because in my kind of everybody knows, like filmmakers and film students knows my first international film, like Bellows,
Mm-hmm.
and the end of this first film, absolutely same.
Mm.
So it was made 30 years ago, and the main character made a dance, suddenly start making dance, and she was making these circles in her room. She was like making circles, long 7 minutes, and then she went she went to the door and closed the door. So it was totally same,
Perfection.
final, absolutely impossible to predict, but it happened. So absolutely
Um,
impossible.
well, Victor, I think we're coming to a close with our conversation. I just wanted to personally thank you for putting a film like that out in the world and creating further empathy for our animal friends, and for sticking with it for that 20 years and knowing that it was a film that you wanted to make. It's really special. And if you ever need someone to babysit the pigs in any future film, I'm your girl.
Thank you very much. Yes, I give you some books because in order to do it, you have to really read books before.
Yeah.
I read tons of books before I started filming it, and I met 5 most important scientists of the planet before I started
Wow.
filming. Yeah, because you really need to know a
Yeah.
lot of them. Yeah, by the way, they're second intelligent animal of the world.
Yeah.
Much more. For example, dog is number 7
Hmm.
and piglet number 2, much
Yep.
more intelligent than dolphin and elephant and whale. So only chimpanzee are more intelligent than pigs,
Wow.
and only probably because chimpanzee is easy to calculate the level of intelligence. Piglets, maybe crocodiles are more intelligent. We just don't know how to convince them to
They're
measure
just so
their
secretive.
intellect. But in fact, this is the truth.
Yeah. Well, thanks for bringing that to the
Yeah. Thank
forefront.
you very much for your conversation. Thank you, people. I'm sorry I did not answer all questions. Another time.
Yeah, another
Thank you very
time.
much.
We'd love to see you
Thank you. Stay
again.
safe, people.
You as well. Thanks so much, Victor.
Yeah.